Boom! And it's 2:30 p.m. It's Wednesday afternoon. You're watching Innovation Fika with Donny live from a sunny, snowy, wintry Stockholm. Wonderful Wednesday afternoon. 2:30 p.m. every Wednesday I go live with Innovation Fika, which is my innovation coffee break. Fika, as you know, of course, in Swedish means coffee break. When we sit down and we talk to each other about usually everything else except our work, which is part of the whole innovation secret, speaking about other things and getting the brain going as well. So Innovation Fika, a 30-minute coffee break with really interesting people with really interesting ideas to help you learn really interesting things, and also an incredibly really interesting audience. So everybody online, make sure to drop a line in the chats saying who you are, where you're from, and what's going on where you are today, and we can get you on board here as well. I am thrilled today to introduce episode 97 of my Innovation Fika, a dear friend and one of the best, probably the best person I know in the world when it comes to things like SEO and online marketing and the actual inner workings of how it actually works. I've spoken to lots of people who can talk to me about growth hacking and you should do this on social media and so forth, but I haven't met anybody who has sat down with me and then pointed out, you should do this, you shouldn't do that, and this is how it works there. Incredibly intricate there. So, but let not me tell you about him, let him tell you about himself. So with that, I will introduce my dear friend, Yann A Skalen.
Hi, Donny.
Something like that, right? Something like that.
Yeah.
Wonderful to have you here. Welcome to Innovation Fika, live online from the west coast of Sweden, right?
Yeah, Gothenburg,
my hometown. Wonderful. So happy to see you here. Happy to have you online. So with that, I will also always start these shows by saying, welcome to the show. So Yann, who are you and what do you do?
My name is Yann Skalen. I'm the founder of Digtective, and we do advertising tracking or ad tracking that is privacy first. So we kind of work with big companies like banks and insurance companies.
And that's Digtective, right?
Yeah, that's Digtective.
Digtective.com?
Yeah, correct.
So we can probably add that one. Then just show that. That's Digtective.com.
Yeah.
Yes, and you work with large corporations and help them, you show them what they should not be spending money on.
Yeah, right? I'll put it a little different. We make sure that you are safe when you surf online, so nobody gets your private data. Yeah. But we also acknowledge that the companies need some information to optimize the advertising. And then we do that compliant with e-privacy and GDPR and CCPA.
Yeah. Okay. Very good. Thank you for that very short intro. And it's funny though, because when we were talking about the show, me and Yann said, what are we going to talk about? And we sort of just laughed because once we get talking, we could probably speak for 2 days without interruption about this subject. However, this is, as you know, the world's fastest 30 minutes. And we're trying to keep contained here and talk about the subject, which actually is the current future of online marketing, because things have changed a lot on the online marketing sphere, and I thought we'd talk about that a bit, and we'll focus a bit more as well about what is it like for early stage founders trying to find their footing as they come out on onto the online thing, and they've heard about this marketing and how do I do that and growth hacking and everything like that. So let's start sort of there, and I see that we actually have with us here. We have some founders online as well. We have Yashavarjan from India. Wonderful to see you again. We have Rohit from Stockholm. Hey, Rohit, good to see you. Elena from Copenhagen today. Hi, Elena. Happy to have you here. And another good friend of mine. Look at this, Joachim Alvarez. Joachim, so happy to see you. We haven't met for years and years and years, but we used to hang out back in the early 2000s with mobile coupons. That was those were the days. Anyway, back to Yann. Let's talk about, I'm an early stage founder. I've just gotten of course I have the best idea ever because I'm an early stage founder and I think about my ideas that way. Where do I sort of start? I mean, how do I go about it? The internet is a big place and social media is very hard to understand. Where do I even start with anything?
Well, I would start with my homepage and create a good-looking homepage that is really fast, so I can get
Yeah.
the SEO and good content, and that's where I start. Nothing else.
But this is interesting because one would think that this, websites, homepages, isn't that like old news? I mean, do people, isn't anybody on TikTok and that kind of thing? I mean, what would?
Yeah, it depends on your product.
Yeah,
If you put it like that, I will also go on LinkedIn. If your
yeah,
product is for the generation Z, of course, it's TikTok. It's the millennials, then it's Facebook. So yeah, but you still need a homepage somewhere
yeah.
to do your business.
Somewhere to do your business. I like that, and I mean, it is like a solid landing spot as well, where you can sort of direct traffic, where you can actually do business and convert. You can bring people in, you convert them, you can actually sell something to them as well. On hopefully on the webpage. And hi, Tom, as well. Tom here from KTH Innovation. Cool. At home today with his kids. Okay, so we're starting with the webpage. And how sort of, does it need to be like a super elaborate thing, or what is it supposed to do? If I start with, okay, I have a product or a service, I put up a homepage. How do I do that, by the way? You say hi.
If you're early stage founder with no cash, I would just start with WordPress because it's really cheap, and I would get a theme, WordPress, Divi, whatever that's really fast, because then you're taking care about the technical SEO,
Yeah.
and then just starting writing good content and writing about your product.
Okay, so that sounded really, really easy, but what what you said was you get a WordPress page, and you can either do it self-hosted or you can host it at WordPress as well.
Yeah.
Or a different host. And then you mentioned a theme called what was it called? Generate Press, right?
Yeah, this is like iPhone and Samsung, but I like Generate Press because it's fast out of the box. But you could also use Divi. That's two really fast themes.
Yeah.
So
I think the one thing is, which is worth mentioning there, is when you're picking a theme for WordPress, just make sure that you pick a fast one. Because they're different. I mean, they have different load times and the different weights of these different themes, and some of them are, not but I'm speaking to people. Some of them are more tailored for speed than others. So that's always a good tip, to find something that is actually fast out of the box, because as you hang on more plugins as well, they tend to bog down and get a bit slower. So okay, so we got a good sort of solid first web page up with a fast theme. And then what else do we do? What do we do now then? I mean, we have that there, and how do we sort of get people to it?
Well, I would like to call it the go-to-market strategy. First, you have to test your product and see if it's working and it makes sense for people. So when you start getting customers that it's not your family, not your friends, and not people that's when you kind of have your go-to-market strategy. And you probably audited your web page now 20 times because you didn't know what you were actually selling when you started off. So first, when you get that message ready and clean, that's when you can start doing some advertising. And then again, it depends on your product. But I kind of always would like to start on Google Ads to see if your product resonates with people.
So like sort of dipping your toe in the water to feel what it's like, with like a small attempt with like small Google Ads, and just to see what sort of. And I like the way you word it though, because you're trying to ask people that aren't your friends and aren't your family, and it's not your girl or boyfriend, what they actually think about your product. That's usually the first real sort of lackmus test for any product or service, is when you ask somebody that you have no previous connection with or you don't even ask them. You like just put it on the table and you leave the room, and somebody else comes in and goes, "Oh, what's this?" Yeah. That kind of scenario, when they meet this web page, and that's when they make their first impression of what you are actually doing. So I really like that. So okay, but you said get your go-to-market strategy, in place before you do the Google Ads. So how, when you talk about go-to-market strategy, how sort of elaborate do you think one should make that, or spend time on that before you like go out and try?
Yeah, a lot of cold calls, a lot of cold emails. LinkedIn is a great source to find your target group and starting connecting with them and starting a dialogue with them on LinkedIn. Works really well.
You mean I actually have to speak to people and before? I mean, I have to actually.
Yeah. It would be a dream to get a product where you didn't have to speak to anybody or do the hard work or sell something. Yeah, I would really love that.
Oh, I know. Okay, so but this is actually the interesting thing though. It's actually hardcore stuff here because we're talking about actually reaching out to people, picking up the phone, or actually finding them on LinkedIn. LinkedIn, as you said, is a really good tool. And we've also talked about supporting your startup and fundraising and whatever efforts with a strong LinkedIn presence, so people actually see what's going on. But LinkedIn is a really good tool for outreach. But how does it work? If you're on a free account on LinkedIn, you cannot send people like email messages, can you? I don't think you can.
I don't remember the number. Maybe it's 20, or I have LinkedIn.
Like
yeah.
But the thing is, you can always reach out to people either by sending them a connection request.
Yeah.
And never send a connection request and sell at the same time, please. But you reach out to people, but an underestimated way of getting in touch with people on LinkedIn is in the comment fields. Actually, taking part in discussions and getting to know people that way. That's a really, really good way of getting into it. So anyway, so we have the web page. We've done a bunch of cold calls. We've sort of had an idea of how we're going to, get to market, who we're going to market to. We do some testing with some Google ads just to see what are we looking for there. How do we do that?
I would actually go back first to LinkedIn because you were talking about commenting, but I kind of, I never talk about Digtective when I write on LinkedIn. Almost never. I always talk about what I do, and that's tracking advertising and helping people advertise and sharing my knowledge with people. And that's kind of resonates, and that's where I get my followers, because people kind of like the ideas I have or the tips I give them. So that's kind of where I start building my followers up. So I just have to put that in, and that's all for free. And then you don't have to connect with them because they connect with you because your message makes sense for them. So back to Google. So
okay. Back to LinkedIn again. Because I just want to emphasize what Yann just said here, because we've heard this before. You'll hear it again, but it's all about adding value to people's everyday lives. And if they perceive you as you are adding to them online on LinkedIn, they will reach out to you and they will want to be in touch with you. So that's again, a very, very solid advice of how to navigate LinkedIn. Now, going back to frontwards again to Google Ads. Yes.
So, and I'm really detailed and I'm really focused on getting results. So I would start. I'm going in a little bit deep in Google Ads here, because I would start a campaign. If you have three messages with your product, I would start with 3 different campaigns and make them all about the same thing, so I don't split my communication between 3 things. So like if you're selling a football, you're probably selling football shoes, and you're selling socks as well, or shorts. That would be 3 or 4 different campaigns, and I will keep every campaign to only that product, even the ball or the socks or the shoes. And then I would try to test the messages. And the thing is with Google Ads, it's kind of instant gratification, because the ads are online almost instantly, and just the day after you can see you have some clicks, and if you're lucky you maybe have some conversions. But what I actually do with Google Ads most of the time is testing my messaging to see what resonates. Okay, did I get a click? Did it actually convert to something? And when I find an ad that is really good, or a message that's really good, that's kind of what I build the other marketing on top of, because I know that's something that resonates with my product.
So you write. Do you like write different kinds of like A/B testing kind of thing? Do you write 2 different ones and see which one works, or how do you do it?
A lot more. So in each ad group,
the whole alphabet: A, B, C, D, E, D, F.
So in Google, they have a new ad form now, but you have to have 3 messages for ads, and that's kind of bugging me a little bit, because I want a lot of them. So I just wrote one and one and one. So one message and one ad. But now you have to add 3. Google lets you write in 8. I never do that. It's only 3. And then I rather create a lot of ads and when I find that one of the ads is working, it's 3 messages. So then I try to find out which of those 3 is working. So I kind of got really deep. But yeah.
And how much? Okay, this is a difficult question, but how much money do you think one needs to spend then? As you know, we're talking about early stage founders, and they can choose between water and noodles and doing Google ads kind of thing. I mean, how much money are we talking about here that is relevant to, when we're playing around with just testing the waters? Any numbers that were relevant?
Yeah, that's really hard. If you're alone about your product, it's going to be so cheap. So if you have a new product that nobody heard about, and that's a lot of founders have new products. So if you're not going after one of the big ones or the big competitors, or like loan or mortgage or some really big words, and you have some, I can't find anything in my head now, but water cleaning is too big, but a really small niche product. The problem is you don't have any people that search on it, but the search you get is really for free, or not free, but really cheap. So, but you have to then build out the campaign and find something that is similar and try to tag into that one.
Mm. And that's we're talking about search terms and actually what the costs to pay for different search terms, right?
Yeah, and this is just our 2 hours discussion, going.
I know.
Yeah, so we're not going there now.
Anyway, but what do you say? Well, if it's just and again, thank you everyone for adding comments, and please ask questions as we go along here. We have Yann in the studio for another 15 minutes. Is there anything that you feel that was sort of valid, 2018, 19, 2020, that you say, well, we're not doing this anymore, but we're more going over here instead? I mean, what do you see in these changes in the landscape? What's sort of happening out there when it comes to online marketing?
Yeah, it's a lot of things happening. It's GDPR. We had it in 2018, but people are starting to get aware of it, and some are actually getting fined for breaching it. And it kind of looks like e-privacy is going to be passed by EU this year, and that's going to be the end of internet marketing as we know it, because that's where the cookie ban is getting in effect. But no, it's a lot. Google Analytics disappearing this summer. Facebook Analytics disappeared, was it 1-2 years ago? So it's a lot of changes. And for a common marketeer, they kind of like the remarketing, the cookies, the frequency, the attribution, stalking you as a private person and building a great big profile on you. That's going away. So it's I kind of feel sorry for the guys that started with advertising, last 15 years, because they've been so spoiled, because they have all these tools they can use, and now somebody's taking away all the tools and they have to start doing marketing for real. So you're back to Kotler and doing your homework.
Yeah.
So
interesting. I mean, I can also see, I mean, the whole media landscape is constantly changing, but I'm seeing a lot of changes, as you say, as well, this the last couple of years. We're getting some questions here. Let's see, Alena, what do you think about growing a community and network around your product before the launch, like on LinkedIn or other platforms?
I think that's a good idea. It depends on the product, so it's kind of specific. I don't think my product will get a community, but if you have a product that suits where it's a fit, that's a really good idea. And then you can build an expectation before you launch it as well, and that's really powerful.
Indeed, and this is, I have no, this is just a personal point of view, that if it's a consumer product, then it might be beneficiary to build a community and a hype around the product, and then the launch, and then you have lots of sort of first user ambassadors that will immediately start using. A business-to-business product, I think they tend to want something that works when you actually talk to them. So it's more like, don't phone me until you have something that works, and then we can start talking about business. And not so much of the community building hype thing, waiting for something to happen. I'm guessing here now, but you please, you're a big SaaS guy, so you please add to that.
I have one company that I was following, and I actually bought the first Remarkable. So the Remarkable, the like the iPad, yeah. So I was kind of a part of that community, waiting for the first Remarkable. I think I was one of the first to buy the second one as well. So yeah, it does work for business to business. So well, yeah, if you have the right product.
Yeah. So what is the buzz in the SaaS community now? I mean, what's any sort of talk of the town? What's going around and the big
How to raise money, and when is this going to end?
Okay. I get it. That's kind of the same discussion we're hearing in other places as well.
Yeah.
Tom here with in general, this is also Google Ads. Good. Are Google Ads beneficial in the beginning, or should campaigns be planned over a longer time?
Oh, I'm always long in whatever I do. So if you look at our customers, it's Google Ads. Google Ads is one of the biggest challenges when you get your messaging right and you do your tracking right. It's just a money making machine.
Yeah, still
for the right products. Yeah,
still is okay.
Yeah,
and Bing hasn't really taken away Google yet.
Oh, I'm so waiting for them. All the talk about the AI, the chat AI, and them implementing that on Bing. So I kind of see figures already. I don't know if I should disclose this, but like I can take my numbers and because that's you can find out with it. But I would say that Bing was 3-4% of all the traffic that my clients got, and now they're starting advertising on Bing. So kind of see that some of our clients have 20-30% of their search
That's
traffic.
really interesting. That slow shift there. That's super interesting to hear that. Actually,
That wasn't slow. That was overnight. So
Yeah.
chat GTP and suddenly boom. It's just, and everybody talks now. Oh yeah, Yann, do you have the API for Bing yet? No, we don't, because we've been working with Google and Facebook. Yeah, well, you need Bing, so yeah, it's kind of our roadmap.
But how can early stage founders benefit from this? I mean, is there any way we can do that? If I'm an early stage founder, is there anything what we're talking about here with the Google and Bing contract Google? Is there anything there we could do as an early stage founder? Anything I think about there?
Bing was really cheap. The clicks you got from Bing tended to be cheaper than the Google clicks. But I think that's going to change really fast now, since a lot of people are getting onto Bing.
Yeah. But do we have a window now when it still is cheaper?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So today it's the 22nd of February. Right now, and for a very short period of time here, we have a window here for Bing. That's a good message. Let's see, Tobias, in relation to cookie ban, how important do you believe conversational marketing and personalization will be in the future?
Yeah, that's a big question. But personalization, that goes away with e-privacy, because you can't personalize anymore. That's kind of the sense of the regulation. You shouldn't know who your customers are, but conversational marketing is always important. So yeah.
So with the GDPR in place, the whole sort of tracking part, and because I mean, just so we can explain to people what we're actually talking about here. We're talking about the cookies that track me and personalize the web page experience. It will be a much more anonymous if I choose to turn everything off, right?
Yeah, and GDPR that's just a little bump in the road. It's just one paragraph in the GDPR that talks about cookies, but the new e-privacy regulation, that's kind of all about cookies and fingerprinting and tracking and stalking your customers. So for the people that are wondering, San Francisco Chronicle, that's in California, they have a regulation called CCPA. If you just go into the San Francisco Chronicle, I have a look at the page, you can see that the cookie ban is all the cookies, and you have to consent for every one of them. And it's kind of going to be, or it seems like it's going to look like that in the EU as well.
Yeah. But and here's a question from me when it comes to the whole cookie consent thing. I just feel that it's this thing comes up in your face, and then you just click on everything and just get it away. And in a sense, sometimes I feel that we're consenting to the same kind of things that they were giving us anyway before. It's just that now that we're more or less unintentionally just clicking on everything just to get rid of that darn window. Do you think we should spend more time on that window when we come to a website? Should we actually look what it says, or what do you think?
Yeah, I think if you can give me something back, if I trust you as a company, I trust you, and I know if I give you a consent to put a cookie on me, you can target me with ads that are perfectly fine for me, or you have a product that I really like, and I would like you and me to get to know each other. I think for companies that build trust for the clients, they're still going to get the consent, even if you have to get it manually. But it's going to be a lot less people that are giving the consent.
Yeah. No, I can actually, that resonates a bit with me, because I can actually find myself when I get the, the whole sort of cookie consent window up on a website. And if it's a brand I just feel okay with, I can just click in. Yeah, general, everything goes.
Yeah.
But I do find myself stopping and looking at, okay, which one? No, not the marketing one. I can do this one, and I can, and I find myself thinking a bit more about it with brands that I don't either trust or are new with, or so. Yeah, it's kind of shifting, and I can see that as well. Okay. So, oh my God, it's 5 minutes to 3. It's whoosh. Well, it's fast of half an hour. Oh my God. It's as I said, this is a really, really quick Innovation Fika break. And we've had dear Yann Arvid Skalen.
Yeah.
Trying to pronounce that correctly. And we're always leaving us with top 3 tips. All of our guests leave us with their top 3 tips. So we did actually talk about some of them, but here's Yann Skalen's top 3 tips for early stage founders trying to find their way in this big internet world and online marketing as of today, 2023 and going forward. And tip number 1 being KISS. Keep it simple, stupid, when it comes to website SEO and content. Could you elaborate on that, please, Yann?
Yeah, like we said, WordPress, make it cheap, make it so you can edit yourself, and don't buy any expensive stuff before you finish with your go-to-market strategy. That goes for the design as well. Save your money until you know what you're actually selling and what's resonated with your clients.
Yeah, and the SEO and the content part of that, what would that be there?
The SEO will choosing a theme with really good speed, and writing content is a lot of, don't use AI. Please don't use AI to write your content, because kind of Google and the other are looking at it. It is some great tools for, I can actually share that one on my LinkedIn afterwards, some links to some AI spotted tools. So you're kind of not putting out AI written content.
Good tip. And I'll just say to everybody, make sure to check out Yann on LinkedIn. He will be sharing things there as well, of course, on his profile, but he's a good guy to follow. A lot of highly valuable stuff coming out of Yann's profile on LinkedIn. I can just, what's it called? Testify on that. Thank you. Tip number 2 is go-to-market strategy before marketing. Please explain.
Know what you're doing, know what you're selling, know what your customer wants, and a go-to-market strategy is not finished until you get a completely stranger buying your product and liking your product. It's not your family, it's not your friends. That's when you know that you have a product that you can sell.
Yeah. And as we said, I'm afraid, kids, it means you have to speak to people, either email them or phone them and reach out to them. It's kind of what the whole thing is all about. So yes, figure it out. Figure it out. Wonderful. And tip number 3, test the waters with Google Ads.
Yeah.
And again, just briefly, how do I do that? I mean, how do I can write a Google ad, but how do I do the test? What's the, the test part? What's the...
Google Ads is really good. That depends again. You can see how many impressions you got on the words. There you can see if it's actually working or somebody is searching for it. And when you have the impression, you're going to get some clicks, hopefully, and then you can look at your click percentage, and then you have to see if it converts. And if you get a lot of clicks and no conversion, you know that something is wrong with the web page, or something is wrong with your product, or actually you wrote something bad in the ad. So if you're writing about something that people want but you don't sell, well, that's kind of not the smartest thing to do, because then you get some traffic. Or we can elaborate on this one, but I just have to put in quality score. When it comes to Google Ads, when you write a word in the Google Ads ad and you have that as a search term, please do have the word on your homepage as well and be relevant for it, because then your click price is going to be maybe 20-30% lower than it is if you're just throwing out words out there.
hot tip off the press stuff. That was actually a good one. Make sure that you have the same word on your website. So when you get, yeah, very good. And I will actually have a question about the, not a question, but I will question and comment on, make sure that the website is a good landing spot when people come in. So if they've seen an ad and they've clicked on an ad and then they come to your webpage, then you're supposed to see what they clicked on, and then make sure that it can convert them to somewhere. Have a call to action, have something they can buy or fill in or do, not just sort of, and here we are. Yeah, I mean, that doesn't really sort of,
No.
yeah.
And then you have the tracking analytics, but that comes later.
Yeah, awesome. From Gilles here. Thank you, Gilles. Salut, great team. Wonderful, Gilles. Thank you so much. It's on the nose. It's 3 p.m. on a Wednesday afternoon. This has been Innovation Fika with Donny, episode 97 with Yann A Skalen. So happy to have you here, sir. I wish you a fantastic day. And everybody, make sure to reach out to Yann on LinkedIn. He is super accessible, and he is a treasure trove of valuable information. Really. We could go on for all day about this. I know that. Thank you, Yann, and thank you everybody for watching. And I will see you next week for episode 98 of Innovation Fika. But for now, I will say goodbye. Thank you. Have a wonderful afternoon, and yeah, see you online.
Thank you. Bye.